During that journey into productivity, I learned that yes, I was trying to accomplish more, not because someone was telling me I needed to do it. I wanted to accomplish more because the goals were important to me. They mattered to me. When I achieved those goals, I was happier. I was more fulfilled as a result of doing the things that I wanted to do and reaching those goals. Hi, I'm Chris LeBrun, your host of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. As someone who's never been afraid of dreaming big and going for it all, I often find myself with a lot on my plate. I'm a husband and father, a nonprofit fundraiser, and an entrepreneur. What I've realized is my view of productivity was pretty toxic. After decades of believing that in order to do more, you had to work harder, I began to see productivity as this beautiful thing. Holistic productivity is the idea that you can accomplish your professional, personal, and purpose-driven goals in a healthy way, and doing so will make you happier and more fulfilled. Join me each week as we break down myths about productivity, share practical tips for maximizing your time, energy, and focus, and hear from others about their productivity journey. This is the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. Welcome to the first episode of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. I can't tell you how excited I am that you are here. This has been a long time coming, something that I've wanted to do for quite a while, and in the last few weeks and months planning for it, getting prepared. It's just so great that you're here, and I'm excited to take you on this journey with me. So let me talk about what my goals are for the show. What am I trying to accomplish through the Wholistic Productivity Podcast? As you're going to hear a little later on in this first episode, I've been on a journey to understand productivity a lot more. And my hope for the podcast is that I'll get to share some of that new understanding with you. I want you to experience a mindset shift when it comes to productivity. Hopefully this will bring more balance to your life. It will help you accomplish more of what matters most to you. Ultimately, you'll be able to reach your goals easier and be more fulfilled. And that's what this is all about. We want to have fun as well on the podcast. Hopefully we'll do that. But ultimately, I want you to experience some of what I've learned on my journey into studying more about productivity. The obvious place to start is just explaining a little bit more about this idea of holistic productivity. I get a lot of funny looks when I say the name. People aren't really sure what to expect. They think they're picturing some sort of combination of productivity and yoga, Zen gardens, or aromatherapy. Trust me, it is none of those things, nor is it some alternative medicine that you can take to help you be more productive. When you look at dictionary.com, they tell us the word holistic with an H and holistic with a W are basically interchangeable. But the W version that I use is not used as often. It's not as common. Probably that's because the word goes back to the Greek holos with an H, which means whole. The idea of holism came out in the mid-1920s. And similar to Aristotle's idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's what holism was about. It's also been used quite a bit in the field of medicine. There was a shift that happened from treating the symptoms and the disease to more of a focus on treating the whole person and everything that is going on with them. That's where I like this idea of holistic for productivity. We don't want to focus just on achieving one goal or achieving goals in one area of our life. We want to focus on all of them and focus on being productive for our whole life. Let's pause here for a quick break. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by Efficient.app. Big shout out to Alex and Andra from Efficient.app for sponsoring the Wholistic Productivity Podcast from the very beginning. We love that. When you are looking for new software, Efficient.app is the place to go. They have already done all the research for you, which saves you the headache of doing a trial of every single app you want to look at. They offer hundreds of product reviews and comparison videos that are informative and fun to watch. Want to hear how Motion stacks up against Monday.com or Asana or ClickUp? They have a review for that. Here's what I love. They promise no BS software reviews. They tell you exactly what they love and what they don't love. And best of all, they have negotiated special deals, discounts, or even extended trial periods for a bunch of different products. If you're going to look for software, do yourself a favor and let Efficient.app do the work for you. Click on the link in the show notes. That's the best way to get there because you'll let them know that you appreciate them sponsoring the Holistic Productivity Podcast as well. Check them out, Efficient.app. The link in the show notes. You won't regret it. Let me tell you about where this journey in productivity started. We're going to go back to 2018. I had a lot going on, and I was basically looking for a way to stay organized. I was working at the time as a nonprofit fundraiser for an international media nonprofit organization. And that had me doing regular travel to visit donors all around the country, probably about 25% of the time. And a couple of times a year, I would travel internationally as well. On top of that, we were launching 2 major fundraising projects or initiatives that year, and that was pretty much all on my shoulders. I was taking the lead for that. So there was a lot going on at work. At home, we had family commitments. My wife and I have 2 boys. They are now adults, but in 2018, they were younger teenagers. So we had family commitments and personal goals, things that I was trying to accomplish for myself and as well as for the family. And on top of all of that, I had a volunteer role at my church's youth group that my 2 boys were involved in. My wife used to call it my second job because it took about 20 hours a week. It was a very, very involved position. And so again, it was kind of this second job that I was doing for free, for volunteering. But I started researching productivity planners and productivity systems because I had so much going on with all of that stuff. And I wanted something that would keep all of my projects organized. Don't know about you, but the way that I work, the way that makes the most sense for me is I didn't want all of these goals and to-do lists, tasks, getting all mixed up together. Again, that's just how my brain works. Part of it was I didn't want to have distractions. When I was at work, I didn't want to see something that was related to my volunteer role at the church. I didn't want to get distracted with all of that, and vice versa. When I was at home trying to focus on the family, I didn't want to be, going back to work things and having my mind back there. So again, I just wanted something that would allow me to organize all of this stuff and stay focused, stay on track. I felt like everything that I found on this journey was geared towards my professional role. It was productivity for the office, for my job. And what I found is when I used those things, my personal projects and my volunteer role, they kind of get left out. During that journey into productivity, I learned that, yes, I was trying to accomplish more. Not because someone was telling me I needed to do it. I wanted to accomplish more because the goals were important to me. They mattered to me. When I achieved those goals, I was happier. I was more fulfilled. as a result of doing the things that I wanted to do and reaching those goals. I realized that so many of our views of productivity are old-fashioned at best, but they're also pretty toxic. So let's look at where we get our ideas about productivity. Where does this all come from? Well, productivity started in the industrial age. Think Henry Ford and his assembly line. Factories were looking for ways to be more efficient, and they were looking for ways to crank out more cars. We saw a lot of technological advances at the time that made that possible, but we also saw a lot of warped thinking and toxic approaches to productivity. I mean, workers were working 10 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. Children were being used in factories as well. It was just horrible what was happening. And so we saw the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, which established laws like the 8-hour workday, minimum wage, child labor laws. This was all done as a way to protect workers. And we have a lot of those laws still in effect today. Even though we are no longer in that industrial age, we are now in a knowledge age. The nature and work of our that we do, our work environment, is a whole lot different than it was in Henry Ford's factory. Productivity isn't measured in widgets that we produce each hour. We measure our productivity in the number of tasks and projects that we get done on time. The nature of work is also different. It's more mental than it is physical. But many of these policies about work that were created in those days of the factory are still with us. Technology today has created a lot of advances that help us be more productive just in our lifetime. In my lifetime, at least, we've seen personal computers in every home. We've seen the internet come out, and everybody has a mobile device now. And if you think about it, we're on the cusp of that next technology advance for productivity with artificial intelligence, AI. We're going to see a lot of that happening in the future. But we haven't gotten rid of these toxic attitudes and ideas around productivity. We've all had that boss who wants us to do more with less. And this is especially true in the nonprofit world, where the goal goes up every single year. Even though budgets are smaller many times and our staff are smaller, look, I'm not afraid of hard work, but burnout is real. And it's hard to come back from burnout. It's hard to keep going when you've hit that rock bottom of burnout. Holistic productivity dives into all of these aspects of productivity. And over the course of the podcast, we will look at things like setting goals, strategic planning, time management, self-care, proper health, both mental and physical. All of these come back to the idea of a holistic approach to productivity. It's not just about working harder. It's a more balanced approach that addresses our whole life. So what does holistic productivity look like? Well, again, that's what we're going to be talking about in each of the episodes of the podcast in detail. But I want to start here today with a quick summary of 3 things that holistic productivity involves. Holistic productivity is very intentional. You have a plan for what you're going to do so that you know what you need to do and when you need to do it. This gives you the confidence to know that you are focused on the right thing. So much of what we will talk about in holistic productivity comes back to this idea of being intentional. Holistic productivity is balanced. It's not prioritizing one part of your life over another. Nothing is left out with holistic productivity, or nothing is focused on more than something else. Which leads us to the third thing that holistic productivity involves, and that is it is rewarding. You find increased happiness and fulfillment when you are doing the things that matter most in your life. When you are accomplishing all of those goals, you will have a richer and more complete life. Again, we've got a lot of time together to dive into more. If this has you intrigued, I want you to stick around. I want you to join us for other episodes. You can find the first 3 episodes of the podcast available today, and then each one of them will be rolled out after that every single week. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you can be alerted every time a new episode comes out. I'd love to connect with you on social media as well. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn, all at Wholistic Productivity. Again, remember it's with a W, Wholistic Productivity. And you can visit our website and get more resources, wholisticproductivity.com. Be sure to check out the show notes. They are available at wholisticproductivity.com/1 for episode 1. Very easy to get to. Want you to be able to have easy access to that. There's lots of links. And again, go there and check out all that we have to offer. That's it for episode 1. Again, thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you how much it means to have you here. And I hope that as we continue talking, you will get more out of life so that you can dream big, plan smart, and live fully. Thanks so much. Before I sign off, close your eyes for a minute, unless you're driving. But close your eyes and imagine this. It's Friday. You're excited for the weekend. TGIF, right? You're wrapping up the work week, getting ready to leave the office. But as you're walking out the door, you start to reflect on the week and you say, what did I even accomplish this week? It's a frustrating feeling and a horrible way to start your weekend. You know that you've worked hard all week, but you have little or nothing to show for it. If you've ever had these feelings at the end of your week, I have a special offer for you to help you on your productivity journey. I talk about it all the time. Being intentional with your time is one of the biggest parts of productivity. And one of the best ways you can be intentional is to plan your week. Planning your week provides clarity on your priorities. It eliminates confusion about what needs to be done, and it sets you on a path for success. Now, I've developed the perfect tool to help you plan your week. I call it my Sunday strategy, and I want to give you my Sunday strategy worksheet and guide absolutely free when you sign up for my weekly newsletter. The guide offers clear strategies for using the principles of holistic productivity to plan your week. You'll have a mindset shift away from the toxic aspects of productivity, and you'll get step-by-step directions for using the Sunday strategy worksheet. With my Sunday strategy, you only need 15 minutes each Sunday to plan out your entire week. It'll let you identify major projects and tasks that are coming up, assign those projects to specific days, and best of all, there are different sections for each area of your life: professional, personal, and purpose-driven, so you can reach all of your goals. My Sunday strategy worksheet also includes a weekly habit tracker to keep you focused on the habits that you want to develop. So if you want to avoid those Friday feelings of frustration and despair, you need my Sunday strategy worksheet. It's the perfect planning tool to help you build the winning strategy for your week. It's a resource you can come back to each day to keep you focused on reaching your goals, and it's an accountability tool to help you track your progress. Basically, it can help you have the most productive week ever. Like I said, it is completely free when you sign up for my weekly newsletter, which also features more strategies and tips to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. To get my Sunday strategy worksheet and guide, go to mysundaystrategy.com and sign up. That's mysundaystrategy.com. There will also be a link in the show notes, but again, mysundaystrategy.com. Look forward to having you back here for the next episode of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast.